The following program deals with controversial subjects. The theories expressed are not the only possible interpretation. The viewer is invited to make a judgment based on all available information.
Tonight on This Week in Redacted.
A bystander captures mysterious footage of shadowy figures in the jungle. A professional MMA fighter calls out a conspiratorial hypocrisy, but will he suffer consequences? A fire in the sky. New footage ruled out as Meteor by NASA. Does this screeching sound rule out the existence of cryptids? All this and the tales of Redacted. With your hosts, Chris and Brian. This is This Week in Redacted.
Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another week in This Week in Redacted, which is a weekly podcast where Chris and I take a look at the most abnormal news as presented by Reddit. So basically what we do is we have some big categories like the paranormal, aliens, cryptozoology, and conspiracy, where smaller subreddits filter into those bigger categories. We take a look at basically what the top upvoted item of that week is, and we talk about it. With me, as always, is Chris Redacted. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing good, man.
We were talking a little bit before the show, and basically it's kind of a light week in terms of credible news, but there is one.
I mean, you can say that it's weak. It's weak this week.
It is, but like honestly, like there's one article that is huge to me, which is funny that
Really?
I was, yeah.
Okay. I don't know which one. Like, which one you think is? I think they're all weak this week. I mean, one
Man.
of them's funny. I found it funny after I watched it.
All right, so for people that don't know, I am the resident skeptic, so that's where I'm approaching evaluating these articles, and Chris is the resident true believer. So this is really funny because we're in a situation this week where it sounds like I'm the true believer on one of these at least.
Yeah, I just don't see it.
All right, so coming in from the cryptids subreddit with just under 3K, most people upvoting, they found it. So, okay, this one is a complete audio clip that we're gonna play like right after this. I'm assuming you did listen to this one. It's this little kiwi screeching.
What are they trying to say? That's the sound of like Bigfoot? Is that what it makes out there in the mountains?
This is what I hate this about all the abnormal news Reddits, right? I absolutely hate this. Is they'll post something like this without any context, and you're just supposed to like look at it and be like, okay, well, I think this is what they mean. It's like, come on, people. So let's go ahead and let's play the actual cryptozoology sound so people can hear it.
I think one of my favorite comments was like, it doesn't sting, yeps, and then it runs away with no explanation.
It's so ridiculous. All right, so here's my take on this one. I'm convinced that, and this is echoed in the comments, a person posted this to say, basically, hey, this little kiwi here, this is 99% of the cryptids that you've experienced in your life out in the woods or out in wherever it is that you're out. Well, they're not really using it as like a very specific,
okay, so
like
it's native
it's
to New Zealand, right? Okay, so
yeah.
if you take, from what I gather is what they're saying is if you take this specific sound, you slow it down, add a couple, notches of, reverb here and some echo or change the tone, that's what all the videos out there of the screeching or yelling or whatever is this. I can't deny it. It's 100% that, but you are right. They put no context. It's just like they found it.
This is what it comes down to with the cryptids. There's a lot of claims of people that are just out at night. They hear a sound or they see something out of the corner of their eye, and that's a basis for belief in that particular Mothman or whatever it is that they're talking about. So we talked about mountain lions last week.
That's the same thing. It's the same noise, same thing. That's what people are mishearing. What they believe is Bigfoot is really just something, an animal. It's an animal. It could be just a wild animal.
So this one's definitely in the skeptic category. I give it a thumbs up. I think, probably a lot of people hear things that are very explainable from other animals or other...
All right, but what about sounds that don't sound like this, that are not explainable?
Like what?
I don't like. You've been You've been camping, right?
Yeah.
Do you recall any moment where you experienced like just strange sounds out in the mountains?
Honestly, no, but I have had a couple moments where that stillness that we talked about.
That is just like no sound, no nothing, no air, no
Yeah.
insects, no birds, nothing, like just no noise.
Yeah, you're walking along and then all of a sudden you realize the only thing that you're hearing are your footsteps.
Yeah, I mean, I've experienced that a couple times, and I think a lot people say that, like, yeah, I've experienced that. Like, what is that? I think things like that are eerie.
Yeah.
But besides that, you've never experienced any weird noises, talking.
Never talking.
They
No.
say that river beds and creeks and whatnot, they sound like people talking, like when you're camping and you're by a creek or anything, that you could, like, the movement of the water hitting the rocks, it sounds like people are talking. And I've experienced that before. It sounds
I
like
can see
gibberish. Well, one time, my friend Jonathan and I, we heard, I'm going to say it was screaming. Like, it was like a very faint, like a male, like screaming, like, oh, I couldn't explain it. It was just, he heard it, I heard it, because he's like, what'd you hear last night? I was like, well, I'll tell you what I heard, and then you'll just disagree or agree with what it was. And he's like, and I told him, it sounded like someone not in like pain or anything like that, but just like yelling, like far away from me, like super far away, like miles away. It was like a like not like a screech, not like that, not like Bigfoot, but yeah. And he's like, yeah, I heard the same thing. He's like, it sounded like someone was like yelling.
I've heard people screaming in the background in the mountains, but it's like during the
But
day and it's like...
we're in the middle of nowhere. That's the thing.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
there's no
a
other
big
humans.
difference. Yeah.
There's a big difference.
Yeah. What do you do?
And I think that's what like, we were in the middle of the night. Like, we didn't, like, we didn't get up. We
You
didn't
didn't
say
send out a
anything.
search party to save the
No
person
way.
screaming?
We didn't say
What's
anything
wrong
to
with
each
you?
other in the middle of the night. It's when we woke up, and he said, so that night there was a full moon, and he's like, you got up in the middle of the night, did you? And I was like, yeah, I had to use the restroom. He's like, okay. He's like, because I heard the moon at like when it's in the middle of the night, it is full moon. It is crazy bright, is what I was
Mm-hmm.
telling him, and it was just, that was like surreal. Like, if you're gonna camp, I highly recommend you camp during a full moon, because it's just like the sun. There's high noon, whatever, the high midnight, whatever the hell it is, right? And that is exactly when I got up and I looked up and I was like, holy shit, like how big and bright it was and how it lit everything up. And it was like at that moment I noticed, I was like peeing and I looked around and I was like, oh, this is kind of scary.
You heard the
Freaked out
screaming in the
about it.
background and you're like,
No,
I'm
that
going to
was like
bed.
way later. That was like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. But in all the years I've done it, that was the only time I've ever experienced anything like that. And then
What are you
did
supposed to do? Like in the handbook, right? Like,
nothing. Like, what do you do that? Like wood knocking? We heard wood knocking, but that could just be random animals. But you know, like
there's
I
no
think,
like
like
etiquette in the forest. Like if you hear some screaming, you're supposed to go investigate it. It's literally just
no,
leave it alone.
leave it alone. Hopefully, it doesn't come into your campground.
All right, so I don't believe this. If you're watching and you know the actual answer to this, unlike Chris's answer, put it in the comments because I'm not buying it. Like,
There's some etiquette. Let's go find out. Hey, go wake him up. Hey, motherfucker, get up. Let's go find out what it's thinking.
yeah, look, man.
No,
Okay,
bro.
imagine
But
you're
hey,
okay.
that's why you white people die.
Do we die
Die in the
in
mountains.
the mountains in the horror stories, or are you talking about real
And they're
life,
being
like
in David
411?
Pollock, 401 missing stories.
Is
I got a
we're
couple
just
survival handbooks, dude, and they always stay near your trail, stay near everything, stay near water. Don't take off your clothes when you're hot. Don't take off your clothes when you're cold.
It's just
So
kind of
drink
messed
messed up
up.
water. Like that's what they all say. Like there's no
Like,
nothing like what do you do when you hear voices
imagine
or
if
you hear
you're the one
yelling?
that's screaming. Let's say you get pinned by a bear and it mauls your face, right? So you went out to
You're
pee in the middle
probably
of the
gonna
night.
die. You're probably gonna die. That's just the truth. Like if I'm out there and I get mauled by a bear and I can't make it back to like the road,
What about a
I'm
baby bear?
probably gonna die.
You're only half
Yeah,
mauled.
half mauled. Like if it's that guy that got like attacked by the grizzly because he was out there scouting. I don't know if you saw that. That like it took off
No.
his whole like scalp,
Oh.
and he
Oh
made it
man.
to the. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I ran into a grizzly." He's like, "I didn't see it." I was like, "Holy shit!" Yeah, that's a no for me, dude. And like in all the years that I've been in the mountains, I've only run into a bear once, and once was enough for me to be like, I never want this to happen again. What is the etiquette if you hear someone screaming, maybe potentially for help? Because it could have been somebody screaming for help. Like I totally
Yeah.
agree with you, Ryan. My friend Jonathan and I, we both didn't do anything. Like we both just kind of just sat there laying in our hammocks because we were hammock camping, and we just were like, "Did you hear that weird yelling last night?" Yeah. He's like, What was it?" He's like, You describe what it is, and then I'll agree with you if it was that." And I was like, "Dude, it sounded like someone was like, oh," it wasn't yelling for help, but it was like, "Oh," but far from us.
It
Like
could have been a
I didn't
person,
feel
you know.
there's no road where we were at. Like there's no you have to like
Yeah, but
hike
you're out
in.
there. You're out there.
Yeah, but I backpacked in there. I'm more scared of people than I am of animals out there.
All right, our conspiracy 5K upvotes. Spice levels a little spicy. 659 comments. Professional MMA fighter entered the arena last night with a message of truth about the Epstein honeypot.
The honeypot, that's a very good way of putting it.
What are your initial impressions on this?
Oh man, he's not wrong. Like I don't for whatever reason I always feel scared to talk about anything Epstein. Like I don't ever talk about it with anybody like at work, friends or family, anything. It's just gets too close to like, the Clintons. And what happens to people that are like mess with the Clintons? I'm not gonna even discuss it, but he's not wrong.
I guess
Maybe he
maybe that's why this is such a big deal, is because he's in such a huge spotlight and he's
yeah.
showing this message. The idea here is that he's highlighting the focus of like justice, I guess.
For those that don't know about Epstein, like he ran some type of ring, right? Like, who knows what specifically how deep this ring was?
Oh man, is there someone knocking at your door right now? It looks like someone's coming in.
No.
You got all scared too.
Yeah. My fiance is supposed to come home anytime soon, so why are you scared me like that? But it's like you're not wrong. It's just like I think people feel that justice wasn't served.
Yeah, it's weird. I feel the same way. Like it's like it's not something that I commonly talk about with people at all,
Mm-mm.
let alone on, right? Looking at the MMA fighter's shirt and the statements that are there, one problem that I see is that these aren't either or situations, they aren't mutually exclusive situations. You can have justice for uh, Trump and the confidential documents and Epstein's client list at the same time. I assume what he's presenting here is that the media has focused in on one of these over the others, and the media tends to be puts a lens and a spotlight on something that tends to only have like a single view, right?
It's
And I
whatever sells views. That's really what it comes down to. Of course, they're going to
yeah,
highlight, one specific one because, he used to be the former president and he leaked confidential information.
well,
He
there's
didn't
all the
even leak, he
politics
took,
too.
you
You
know.
know, that's the other piece is I think that's what it comes down to is the media is going to be inflaming people on the politics side, because if you're a Trump supporter, you're upset. If you're not a Trump supporter, you're probably also upset,
Yeah, it's
right?
like
So,
it's like sad we can't really talk about it, like mention like exactly what Epstein. Like there's a Netflix documentary for, our viewers. You could watch it, explains it in depth. You could even just type it in on good old Google and find lots of things about this man and his wife.
I think why it's relevant on the conspiracy subreddit is that it's just not going to be touched on in our lifetime. It's going to be swept under the rug. And you're going to have a lot of people who participated in really shady activities that should be legally held accountable for their actions that are just not going to be legally held accountable for their actions. And also the world will never know that those people participated in those activities.
We'll never know.
Yeah.
No one will ever. I don't think it'll ever be shared. I don't even think in like 50 years from now. It's not like CIA files that'll get, declassified
Right.
and 3/4 of it is redacted. We're never going to get anything.
From our ghosts in the jungle, the frightening jungle, no one sleeps
It's
tonight.
such a great title.
With almost 8.5k upvotes, 80% spice rating, which means a lot of people downvoted this, and 918 comments. We have a video, a 5-minute long video.
It's really 5 minutes
It's
long.
5 minutes long. We're just going to have it running in the background. And
I mean, when I saw it and I laughed, like I laughed so hard, and I only watched a couple of seconds of it. Like I watched maybe it jumping down, and that's as much. I had no idea it was this long.
Isn't it amazing? It is so just convincing. I mean, look at this. It's clearly some kind of shadow people, right?
At first, I thought it was a monkey, because I don't know what part of the world it was at, right? Because I didn't see it. But then as I saw it, I think this is as much as I got. I was like, oh my god, that's a person in some type of black suit.
Yeah, I mean, this is like so blatantly just people in suits getting passed off as like something paranormal. I'm not even gonna. We'll keep it going in the background. I'm gonna kill the sound on this one. But this is just in such bad faith. It's just like, why? If someone asked you to dress up in a black, like, outfit and like pull on a string on a tree so that you could try to fake out a subreddit, would you?
I mean, for the clout, I guess.
It's not like anyone in the costumes are gonna get clout, though.
No way. It's people. It's teenagers. That's what it looks like. Kids.
All right. Well, let's get to the spicy one this week.
Copy.
From our UFOs with 3,700 upvotes, about 90% spice, so most people liking this. 1,000 comments. Video of Meteor in northern Minnesota in November. So this one, I'm actually in the mindset that this is convincing. I'm actually impressed by this one. This is potentially not a meteor, and that's huge. I mean, take a look at the footage, right? Let's
flash streaking across the sky up north.
It's jamming though, like it's going fast.
Right across the sky, then it's followed by a big boom. Now we've slowed this video down. It comes from the Bemidji Regional Airport. Beltrami County officials
at another airport.
Airport. So should have radar.
Always airport, yeah, with radar and everything.
Horizontal to be a meteor.
Right.
Our Alan Henry's digging into this mystery. He'll have much more on this.
So the big thing here is the horizontal aspect. This is not behaving like a meteor. It's visually stunning, whatever it is. Even if it's something natural.
Like if you see meteors falling like they do, like they're burning, going down. You could tell like they either burn like green, white, or red depending on what it's made out of, like element, like iron. What I don't know what else they're made out of. And this doesn't have that.
Also have some more auxiliary footage.
Yeah, I saw a couple angles of this, right? Like it was like multiple people have it, and then there was also a police, I think, camera caught it too. So there's multiple angles of it.
Angles, like the big booms. This was an audio thing of a big boom right now.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of flash. I saw the big boom and the flash. There's another video I saw too that catches a better boom of it.
Yeah, so this was definitely an event that occurred. This one people are saying is a bug, which I'm perfectly fine saying that,
Now, as much as you think it's a great video, and I agree with you, is our military is actively testing the new stealth bomber.
really, tell me about
Yes,
that.
actively. There's that B-29 or B whatever. It's a new stealth, fifth generational. It's supposed to actually be active as we speak right now. It's in test flights, and I think I sent you a video of it saying like I think people thought that they saw a triangle UFO and it being probably this stealth bomber.
Oh, was a
It's
while back now, right?
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
was like, and they're confusing it to think that it's a UFO. So I know our military right now is actively testing this plane out. And how fast it's going, it could also be that's like afterburner, it's going. The boom could also be that it's hitting Mach whatever, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it's going. As much as like, but it's still fascinating footage. Like, it was like I think the person that recorded is they recorded a triangle and it was like flying across, and I was like, oh, these people thought they captured a UFO, but it's actually the new stealth bomber.
Well, I mean, it's unidentified in the sense that like I
It
can't
absolutely
identify
is.
it,
Like I
right?
can't.
Yeah. And I think that's really what catches me on a lot of these is that like personally, I'm not going to jump to aliens in seeing something like this, but it is exciting seeing something in the night sky that is unfamiliar and abnormal. And
Yeah,
I think as we're going through and doing this show every single week and seeing more and more footage, what I'm enjoying the most is being able to start to discern things like satellites in the sky or other natural phenomena or VFX, right?
yeah.
From this
The
footage.
the new military next gen is called the Northrop Grumman B-21 Raider. It looks badass. I'll tell you that much.
Where did you
It's a
see
beautiful.
the photos? Is it like in GQ or something?
It's on Wikipedia.
It's on Wikipedia already? Like how did they get the
Yeah,
photos of it?
I guess because they announced it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Northrop, they announced it that they got the business contract and they said that they were going to be building it and then that was going to start doing test flights in late 2023. I mean, dude, if you look at this thing looks like a UFO. Like
Yeah.
the like
Yeah.
viewers literally go watch this, type it in, and the images that pop up, it looks like the triangle UFO. It's a beautiful
Stealth
thing. Like
bomber.
yeah, it's the B-21 Raider. I think that's what it's called.
Let's put it on the screen for people.
There was an article on November 11th. The U.S. Air Force new B-21 Raider flying wing bomber takes first flight. So yeah, they're actively test flying this. This thing
Does
looks.
look crazy. That's
Telling me, if
insane.
you saw that in the sky just jamming, like what would you think that is? That's like to me that I'm a super believer that I want to believe that's a UFO. And I don't even know
Damn.
how I found it that this was like being tested and it's just literally like in final production and it's going to be like our next generational, and it's supposed to be like actually in combat where the one that we have right now is just like bomber is supposed to get recon. This is going to be like an active plane like for military combat. The thing is beautiful.
So I guess if it is a military test, they can't come out and say that,
No, they
right?
can't. No,
Yeah.
I
So
think they say the same thing. I think a lot of the SR-22 was another early military plane, and I think a lot of the things that we got from the 70s UFO, I think it was the SR-22. And then the first generational stealth bomber. I mean, that thing looks alien to this day, and I see it
yeah.
flying around here in Los Angeles from time to time, from in the military base over here.
Why Michigan though? Like, why would they be flying this around Michigan? Is there any military bases around there? I actually don't know.
Who
I'd
knows? What
expect
if they're
something like
just flying?
Colorado,
What
right?
if they did a test run, right? Like, let's say, hey, we want to go see how fast you can make it from the West Coast to the East Coast. What's your speed? And we want you to fly low to see if you're detected in radar, if it does detect low radar, because you know how they say that in specific elevation, if you're really low, you won't be detected by radar. So we want to see
Yeah.
if you're not picked up by anything. They could have been doing test runs like that, or it could actually just be a UAP, a true UAP. It truly is a UAP.
What I thought was interesting was in the subreddit, people were just basically saying, what we need to do is stop calling them UAPs. We need to call them missiles. And then we'll see how media and military start responding to these things. I thought that was
Missiles.
brilliant.
It is brilliant, because this is a missile. It's like, oh, they react to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was an article recently, I think a couple days ago, maybe I saw it on Reddit on my phone that the military in some other countries shot down a UAP by an airport. I think it was in India,
What?
and this was like yesterday. I forgot to come home and research it. I was just tired from last night, and I just went to bed early.
Yeah, this thing looks otherworldly. I wonder how
It's
much does it cost?
badass.
Like $1
Oh, a
billion?
few billion.
Yeah.
As a meme say, let the world find out why I don't have free healthcare, bro. Let them find
Yeah,
out.
I know. Yeah, I was gonna say like, here you go, military. Take all our money.
Absolutely. So our educational system is like what, like 36 in the world? But our bombers are number one, baby.
But we can't even talk about them.
No,
What
you
the fuck,
can't.
dude? All right. Well, this one I thought, I can't say it's
I
aliens,
liked it.
but I thought it was a
I
great
love.
article this week. I loved it.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Comment down below if you like what we're doing, what you don't like what we're doing. Hey, even negative reaction is still a good reaction.